The focus of this video is on area of a sector and of arc length. And so they really are similar in process. It's just kind of understanding how it works and the system that you're going to go about it. So the first thing that we kind of started with is no matter what, whether you're doing arc length or you're doing area of a sector, and we're going to start with area of a sector, you need to know the area of the circle that you are dealing with. So please remember that area is pi r squared. And in this case, r is 7. So I'm going to type that in to Desmos to get that the area of the circle that we're dealing with is 153.94 yards squared. And we can start thinking about sectors right now. If we were asked about the area of half a circle, that's a sector. This is a sector right here because it's a part. It's a part. So if I wanted half the sector, I would just take 1/2 of 153.94. And once I do that, I would have that the area of that circle is 76.97 yards squared. Or if I wanted a fourth of it, I would just take a fourth of 153.94. So if I change that to a fourth, it would be 38.49 yards squared. So that's one system, is that figuring out what part of the circle do you want. Okay, so that's one way to figure this out as we attempt this is figuring out our part to whole, right? Another way to figure it out is to deal with pieces, okay? Like think about it as like pieces of pizza. So if I wanted this to be in 12 equal pieces, right, which I am not going to be able to execute this very well. So there's 4. And then I'd have to, not even close to being even, but you get it. So if I go here and here, there's my 12 pieces, right? If I wanted to know what is the area of just this piece right here, I can take the same area that I had, and I can, the 153.94, and I could just divide it by the number of pieces that I have. So if I did that, I could figure out that one piece has 12.83 yards square area, right? But what if I don't give you the number of pieces, or I don't give you the fractional part that I'm interested in? Well, you can do this one of two ways. So let's say you wanted to stay with the fractional part, okay? If you wanted to do it that way, you would just have to figure out, well, what fractional part do I have? So if I'm interested in 15 degrees out of a full 360 degrees, well, let's figure out that 15 over 360 is like 1/24 of a circle, right? And then I would just multiply it by my area, 153.94, right? So if I do that, I could then figure out that my area of this piece of 15 degrees is 6.41 yards squared. Another method, and this is what a lot of people in class are using, is the idea of the number of pieces, okay? So they just flip this a little bit. So instead of doing this fractional part, I've seen a lot of students do 360 divided by 15, and they get 24. And they're like, I need 24 pieces of this circle, right? And so then they take their area 153 and divide it by the number of pieces. Either way, we're getting the same answer, and it all works. So in both situations, you've seen the number of pieces be a method, and you've also seen the fractional part. So you just need to make sure, what formula are you going to be going about doing? Are you going to do pieces or fractions? So I'm going to do one of each here. Of this example. So because this one gets a little complicated, because now our fractions or our number of pieces, they are messier, they are partials, and so I'm gonna do fractional pieces on this one. So the question here is, how much of a circle do I have here? So I'm gonna do 150 divided by 360, and I'm really just reducing that in my calculator. So if I put in 150 over 360, I'm interested in 5/12 of the circle. So I need to multiply 5/12 by my area. So that is pi times 15 squared. So 5/12 times, and then I'm doing pi r squared, and I'm getting that my fractional area is 294.52, and that is miles squared. Whereas in this one, I'm going to do the number of pieces. So I'm going to do 360 divided by 300 to figure out how many pieces of this huge pie that I have here. So let's see, 360 divided by 300 is 1.2 pieces. So now I'm going to take my area, which is pi times 7 squared, and divide it by 1.2, my number of pieces. So when I do that, I'm getting 128.28. So hopefully you're noticing or picking a method that works for you and kind of working your way through it. Make sure that you pick one and don't try to go back and forth, because I do think it'll get a little, confusing. Okay, so now we've seen how area works. So when we switch to arc length, so remember, when we're finding the area of the sector, we're finding all of this inside part right here. When we switch to arc length, we just want to know this outside rim. Think of it as like how much crust on the pizza is there, right? We just want to know that right there. So that system is almost the exact same, except for when we're talking about arc length, we want to use circumference. So remember that circumference is equal to diameter times pi, or it's equal to 2 pi r. Okay, so let's look at this first circle. So I'm going to do fractional parts again first. So if I want to use fractional parts, I'm going to figure out, well, how much or what fraction of a circle is 45 degrees. So when I do that, I'm doing 45 divided by 360, and I'm just reducing that. I'm not writing that as a decimal. And that's an eighth. So this is 1/8 of the circle that I'm interested in, and then I'm going to multiply it by the circumference. So in this case, this is 2 pi times 15. So 1/8 times, that math gives me 11.78. And that's just meters, no squared, as we're not multiplying multiple meters together. If we want to do this by the number of pieces, we can still do that. So if I do that, I'm doing 360 degrees divided by 135. That'll tell me how many pieces of 135 degrees there are. So 360 divided by 135 gives me really like 2.67 pieces. So I'm going to take my circumference, which is 2 pi times 10, and divide it by 2.67. And when I do that, I'm getting approximately 23.53. So hopefully you recognize that like area of a sector and arc length are almost go hand in hand. The only difference here is which formula we're starting with. Are we starting with area? Or are we starting with circumference? If at any point during this I lost you or it was very confusing, please do not hesitate to reach out.